Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Cardboard Coach Neil, and I want to wish all the dads out there a happy Father's Day. So, for all you dads out there, happy Father's Day, fellas. You guys deserve it. We deserve it, right? I know there's an auction ending tomorrow night with Heritage. There's some good stuff in there, so you may want to treat yourself just in case you haven't already. But yeah, so I want to again wish all you dads out there happy Father's Day. I just was able to get down to the post office today. I got a couple pickups in the mail, but I had to go down there anyway to drop off a care package, also to drop off an order to SGC. Yes, I'm not believing the hype with their demise. I think SGC will continue to exist. I think collectors would be foolish to let that go. I think there are going to be some changes, but Cardboard Coach Neil called it first. That at least I know of. I predicted, who knows, maybe PSA is just going to move down to Florida, which they kind of did. Maybe not entirely, but they're setting up down there. So something is going to happen. I just don't think the SGC brand is going to go away. I am not a business mogul. Far from it. I mean, I know a few things about a few things, but some people I know and some people I kind of put a lot of stock in their opinion. I think they feel the same way. There's a lot of speculation out there. Even the worst case scenario, which isn't really the worst case. I mean, but if SGC does go away, I'm still going to be buying both PSA and SGC slabs. So the reason I went down there, I had a recent submission that the fantastic customer service at SGC agreed to take a look at. There was a mechanical error. One of the issues I had, just it was a Stam Usual team issue postcard. Should have had dates on it. It didn't. So they're going to take a look. I supplied the information that was requested, and I decided to throw another two cards in there. So what are you going to do? I just like that holder. I just like that slab. I think it really, really presents better. And I don't know of any other issue besides maybe 62 tops that doesn't look better in an SGC slab. But that's just my opinion. But I wanted to talk about just some recent pickups. Wish you guys a Father's Day. But here are the recent pickups I have had made recently. So let's have at it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the most recent pickup. This actually just arrived today. A couple small pieces arrived today. There's really nothing huge in here, except for if you're talking about size, but I saw this on Facebook. I always liked this particular image with the yellow background. And again, I wanted this in an SGC holder. It's not a tough card to find. It's not expensive. But I was looking for the right example. The 41 play ball. I haven't owned too many of these things, and it's a great, great issue. Now, this is a red roughing, of course. Just a real nice image. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but great color and registration. So if you can see, sometimes with the 41 play ball, they got these pinhead type shots. Joe DiMaggio is notorious for it. You really got to look hard if you're particular, like I am at times. You want to have a nice image, but red roughing is no exception. He's got that smaller face here, but the detail is pretty good, as you can see. And it's a nice grade. I'm not a big number guy, but, you know, I will take that into consideration. It's got a nice back. This was on a Facebook group at a good price. I told the guy, and I bought from him before. I said, I'll take it. And literally I paid. And 2 days later, this is showing up in the post office. Another addition to my typeset. I've only owned two other ones. I've owned the DiMaggio, which I'm just, a lot of people love it. And I get it. It's a great year for both. 41 was a great year for Williams and DiMaggio. I've owned both. I'm just not a big fan of both of those cards. And, when you're on a kind of a budget like we all are. I mean, you want to put big time money, for me at least, into other stuff. But this is a nice little card. Next up is T206. This is a Piedmont 350 Topsy Hartzell. Beautiful color on this one. And, it's just got tremendous appeal. I really believe these 1.5s and these 2s that you see nowadays, back in the day, these may have been 3s, 4s. Got the back I love, which is nice and centered, bold color, and a little bit of staining. I personally prefer staining. This has not been Kurt's card care. Now, you never know, but I just like that type of back. Great card. Hartzell was a good player. The great thing about the T206 set, there's a lot of guys, that chase the Hall of Famers, and the Hall of Famers, I mean, they're great. There's some fantastic, iconic images. But there's a lot of really, really good players, and players that a lot of us have never heard of. So if you see an example of a striking T206, and there are many, do a little Google, go to Baseball Reference and read about the player. You might be surprised at how good they were. Hartzell was a really good player for the A's. Big part of some of their championships, and that's just a nice card. Anything, in my opinion, for me personally, that has like a green background and blue and white type uniform, there's something about those that just really, really pop for me. So this is a nice little pickup there. The next one, this arrived. This is another type. This is a 1963 IDL drugstore postcard. Not a postcard. Just a card of Bill Mazeroski. And, just a real nice example. Very affordable. But again, I did not know about this issue actually until about a year, 2 years ago. And I think it was YouTube. And I know Mr. John Mangini has a few of these. I love the Clemente, just a little bit out of my price range. I got a Clemente coming up. I do have some of his stuff. I didn't have any Bill Mazeroski. But again, see, just a blank back. These are 4x5s, but Mazeroski had, one of the most iconic events that have ever happened in baseball with his 1960 walk-off home run. Just a real nice card, very good condition, and happy to own this thing. Pittsburgh, they had a lot of really nice regional type issues. Advertising in baseball has always been around. I mean, 2 cards ago, I showed you a T206 Hartzell. We got to remember that T206s were basically advertising for, for Piedmont and Polar Bear and EPDG and, Sovereign and, all the other ones. So it's really, advertising and baseball cards have kind of always gone together. And certainly advertising in baseball, when you look at some of the old time billboards out adorning the outfield walls. When I was Coach Neal in Little League, I was also in charge of all the sponsors and advertising. And there was nothing better opening day than seeing all your hard work from your local sponsorships being adorned on the outfield wall. It just really looked really good. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't know if there's another organization that had as many cool regional type issues for, local advertising than the Pittsburgh Pirates. And this is something, I don't have enough top loaders, otherwise I'd take all these out. But this was a recent pickup in an REA auction, or not, the Huggins and Scott auction. I know Brian owns both, so I sometimes just call them REA, but this was a set I became familiar with over the past 2 years, and this is actually a complete set. I would take these out but they are in very, very good condition. And I don't have enough supplies right now to house them all. So I'm just leaving them in here. But this is the 1969 Grenier Tire Service Pittsburgh Pirates team set. There are 8 players, notably Clemente, who you see on the front. These were advertised as near mint, and they are. These things are really, really nice. When I get some more supplies, I will show you the Stargell and the Mazeroski, and of course the other 5 players in that set. But these are a little bit bigger. They're about 6x9. Actually, about 5x7. I'm sorry. But again, a little bit oversized, but I like oversized stuff. Always have. I'm not really following the oversized trend. I've been doing it for a long time. This is the kind of stuff I like. And again, it's another type set that I can put onto my Excel spreadsheet. One of these days, I'm going to have to figure out how to show many of them, including the Excel spreadsheet. Because, I probably have well over 250 type cards. So it's a fun little project. But these things, the whole set is in there. These are blank backed. And again, very, very thin. So that's the 1969 Grenier Tire Service Pittsburgh Pirates team set. Now, Pittsburgh, a lot of stuff besides the regionals. One of the other things I like to collect are exhibit cards. And this is a 1962 Pittsburgh Exhibits Whitey Ford. Now, this one fits a lot. Crosses off a lot of check marks for my collection. I love exhibits. I like to get as many different types of those, so it does fit another type for exhibits. It's my only Whitey Ford card. I also do game cards, and technically this is the Queen of Clubs. And so I'm going to count it. Why not? Because you know who sets the rules in this? We do. We determine how we want to classify what our collection is. But this is a really nice example. So these Pittsburgh exhibits, I don't think the checklist is complete. A lot of people don't know exactly how many players were featured. As you can see, it's just a blank back. It's not a postcard back or anything, but these were given out in the Pittsburgh area. I've heard they were given out at a carnival. There was an area that was set up. I don't think it was lasted too long. It was distributed only in this area. And these are kind of tough to come by. But I've known about these for a while. I just have never owned one until now. But this is a real nice card. I just like this kind of stuff. 1962 Pittsburgh Pirates exhibit, or Pittsburgh exhibit, Whitey Ford. Let's go with the pitcher run. This is this one's kind of funky. This is the 1963 Dodgers pinup. Now this is Sandy Koufax. I have the other ones, but again, running out of top loaders, so I put this one in its own thing. But this is reminiscent of one of my all-time favorite issues of the 1938 Gowdy set, the big head set. And you can see why. But look at the color on this thing. See, a lot of people, again, I've talked about this before, people are shy away from this oversized stuff. Oh, there, you know what? I put Don Drysdale on the back. So I'll show you him as well. But that's a great image too. I would never get these things graded. I have thought about kind of punching them out because they are perforated. And I think it would look really cool, but, I'm just not. Well, there you have. There's the instructions right there. And, I'm just going to leave them as is. But it's a great set. A lot of color, especially on that white background. Just the image just really just jumps out at you. And it's just something to consider. So it's just, again, some oversized. I'll save the biggest one for last. So this one is a 1970, I want to say 70 to 72. It was advertised as 70s. This is a McGregor advisory staff, Hank Aaron. I'm a big Hank Aaron fan. And I think Hank Aaron is, he's one of the greatest of all time. We all know that. But some people say he's the best. And, you really can't argue. The guy could hit for average, for power. He was a demon on the base paths. But, I think he was second to Willie Mays and just kind of Mr. Consistent, but just, I still think he's the home run king, by the way, but blank back. I'm a big fan of these McGregor advisory issues. I have a couple from 1960, and I have 3 or 4 from 65. But that's another episode. But, this thing right here, again, distributed by sporting goods, sporting good companies that sold McGregor staff. These were pretty much given out. I think they also were mailed out, but they're kind of fragile. They're very thin. It's like almost like a very thin photo type stock, and they're not expensive, but they are a little bit tough to find in nicer condition. And this one is definitely EX shape, and it will remain in this top loader. All right, so around those same size, I showed this before. I have a 1971 Mays, but I like it so much, I wanted to get the other cards from this, the other Hall of Famers from this set. And this is the 1971 Ticketron, San Francisco Giants. And, it's just a really cool set. Here's Willie McCovey. These are all in great shape. On the back, it's the Giants schedule. So it just shows the 1971 San Francisco Giants home schedule, but it's cool. It's got a little splash of color on a black and white print. Interesting photo. These are something that are unique to the Ticketron set. These are very, very affordable, but they're just super, super cool. And it's just, 500 home run club. Here's Juan Marichal, arguably the best pitcher of the 60s, certainly the most wins. Spectacular, memorable windup. Very intimidating pitcher. I know he had a couple of run-ins, most notably the event, I think it was in 65, between him and Johnny Roseboro. If you haven't heard about that, read about it. Marichal versus John Roseboro. It was kind of a big deal and a little bit shocking to a degree, but great pitcher, Hall of Famer. Again, same back. And last is Gaylord Perry. Now, when I think of Gaylord Perry, I remember back in '83 when Nolan Ryan passed Walter Johnson for the all-time strikeout leaders. And it was a battle all year between, so Nolan Ryan passed Walter Johnson, and then Steve Carlton and Gaylord Perry did. I don't know who did it first out of Carlton and Perry, but they both passed him that year in '83. That was Gaylord Perry's final season, but Carlton and Nolan Ryan battled back and forth all year as all-time strikeout leaders. It was really interesting to watch and to read about and to see on ESPN in its early days. But yeah, I think Steve Carlton actually, at the end of the '83 season, he was the leader of all time, the all-time strikeout leader. And then Nolan Ryan took over the year later and never looked back. But that was just a great season for those three pitchers. And Gaylord Perry was a very good pitcher. He's often overshadowed, I think, because of how many teams he played for. May not have been the best pitcher on his team with Juan Marichal, always kind of played second fiddle, but he's a Hall of Famer, and he was good, great durability, pitched a long time and had always some tricks up his sleeve and some Vaseline under his hat. But that's a cool image of a 1971 Ticketron Gaylord Perry. Last but not least, I didn't even realize this. It's a kind of a pitcher's thread, a pitcher's video. But this one, again, sticking with advertising, this is the largest card, well, baseball card type item in my collection. And this is a 1956 Carling Black Label Indian Bob Feller. So it's just a great black and white image with offset printing. I spoke with Howard Chasser. For those of you who don't know, you know him if you go to shows. He has tremendous stuff. He's very knowledgeable. He kind of helped guide me through what to look for, kind of explained printing. So these things were issued by Carling Black Label, and from what I understand, they were given to liquor stores in the area, kind of just to put up in the window, give it out to customers. Very nice, high quality print. I'm not going to take it out, but it's you can tell it's offset printing when you loop it. It's just a real good issue. Bob Feller, one of the all-time greats. I think he certainly would have had 300 wins had he not gone off to serve our country. I think he finished with about 265, maybe in the 260s. But his win-loss was plus 100. I mean, he was a really, really good pitcher. And I remember as a kid seeing a video clip of Bob Feller throwing a fastball, and beating a motorcycle. So it was kind of cool. A lot of people said that he was hitting 108. I don't think that was the case, but he was certainly bringing the heat. And I think he retired. When he retired, he may have been like third all time in strikeouts. But Bob Feller was a sensation during the time he played. And this is a great image. Feller has some very affordable cards. And I wanted to add something to it. And two of which Aaron from Value Vintage showed this morning. The 38 Gowdy, which is classic. Just a great Bob Feller. But also his 1937 wide pen, which is another good one to get. Maybe one day I'll get one of these, but this is the 1956 Carling Black Label Cleveland Indians issue, and that's Bob Feller. So listen, I hope you enjoyed everything. Again, happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. Hopefully you get yourself something good. And until next time, we'll talk.